Hi everybody, it's Jody here and welcome to the Nook. So today I'm going to talk about something very personal to me and something that I feel like I should tell you guys about so that you know more about me and understand me better. So I know usually we talk about makeup and color and have a lot of fun and it's lighthearted here. That is not this video. I am going to share with you guys my personal story with my diagnosis and where I'm at with MS. 2 years ago I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So I totally understand if this is not your jam and you don't want to watch it and see sappiness and oh what was me. For sure, I won't feel bad. Go ahead and click away and I will see you guys next time. We'll be back for more fun and makeup and, you know, good times. But this time, this video is going to be a little bit on the probably slightly depressing, sad, woe was me side. Okay, so let's get started. MS is a neurological disease. It is a disease of your neurosystem, but it is caused from your immune system. Your own immune system, as some of multiple sclerosis, attacks the myelin sheathing, so your nerves are surrounded with sort of a substance that they call myelin. Your immune system attacks that myelin, creating what they call lesions. Those lesions create like holes in the myelin sheathing, and actually where that is, it can actually cause damage to the nerve itself. Because of these lesions, it creates sort of skipped or staggered reception to and from your nervous system to, say, your limbs or your hands or your speech, anything like that. And if they become scarred enough or damaged enough, they can sort of become not temporary damage, but permanent issues. Okay, so I have something called Relapsing Remitting MS. However, mine is somewhat on the more progressive side. So relapsing remitting MS is what the majority of people with MS have. It means that you have peaks and valleys. So when it relapses, it goes down and you have a lot of symptoms. Some people will go blind, some people will lose the ability to walk, things like that. And then when you come back up and plateau, you're back to somewhat normal, or as normal as you can be with someone with this disease. My relapsing remitting MS is somewhat progressive, as in every time I come up to a peak, that peak is a little farther down than the last one. My lesions are multiplying at an extremely fast rate compared to a lot of people's. However, I am very, very lucky, as in I can still walk, I still function in my legs, I am not blind. There's so many people in far worse shape than I am with my disease that I feel very, very guilty, feeling sorry for myself in any way, and I feel very, very guilty in having any kind of pity party for myself, because compared to a lot of people with this, I am exceptionally lucky. So anyways, keep that in mind. I'm going to try not to get emotional, so let's just get back to facts. So, my symptoms started a lot farther than when I finally got diagnosed, with things like tingly hands, tingly feet, weird fatigue, kind of bladder issues, but I pushed them all aside because I busted up my hand on some stairs years ago. I dislocated a kneecap in high school, all that kind of fun stuff, so I kind of attributed all of that to old war wounds and getting overweight, being bigger than I've ever been before, and aging. Like I was starting to hit close to 30, and I figured, Jesus, I know 30 is a big number, but who knew I was gonna feel this bad? If I feel like this at 30, my God, what am I gonna feel like at 80? So anyways, so I put it off. Finally, in late November of 2013, I'm sitting there, and you can't see it, but I was like, both hands like rubbing on my thighs over and over again. And my coworker looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" Because I look like an idiot. And I'm like, my legs feel funny. Like, they feel really funny. And I didn't know how to describe it. She's like, maybe you should go get that checked out. She had a good point. So I kind of kept it hidden from my husband. I kind of refused to go in because I was a chicken. Just for family reference, I do have other people in my family including my father, who have MS. So I've been around it a lot. I was very, very nervous that was going to be my path because of the symptoms I was having. So I put it off until I could not actually put it off anymore. What happened was I was stumbling around because I couldn't feel my feet at all, and I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't feel from about an inch below, or half an inch below my belly button, all the way to the floor, including my hoo-ha. Like, I felt nothing. I felt nothing. It was crazy. It's so hard to describe. So I finally sort of lost control in the kitchen. I fell, and we've got a railing in our kitchen because it looks over another area of our house that's kind of a split level in the back, sort of, so it overlooks. So when I fell, I swacked my head. My husband came running in, goes, "What's wrong?" I'm like crying, and I finally said, "I can't feel anything." So he rushed me to the hospital. At that point, I basically self-diagnosed myself. I went to the hospital. They saw me right away when I'm like, "I can't feel, blah, blah, blah," and they're like, oh my God, and they're freaking out. And meanwhile, I'm still like kind of chill. I'm like, yeah, I think I got MS. Like, this is what it's going to be. I know what it's going to happen. This is what's going to be. So the neurologist came in, and I told him. He did a bunch of tests on me and decided to actually take me as an inpatient. Now, I'm going to let you guys know that my story of diagnosis is exceptionally fast. This happens to, like, no one. Most people, when they're getting diagnosed with MS, it can take years for them to rule out a whole schwack of other things. I personally was very, very lucky, as in that I somewhat knew what was going to happen anyways and what was going on, and that my neurologist and the hospital staff at the hospital where I live, which is actually a smaller town, they were on the ball, and they listened to me, and they did everything right and super, super fast. So just so you guys know, I am exceptionally beyond lucky at how quick this happened. Most people I know, it's years and years and years to get diagnosed. So they took me in. They decided to put me on a saline drip with Solumedrol, which is a transfusional steroid. So they mix it right. It comes as a powder. They mix it in with the saline, and they transfuse it in your arm for, I think it was just over an hour. So I was only plugged into something for an hour a day. Basically, they kept me there to run all this blood work and to get me CT scans and MRIs and do a spinal tap and all that. If you've never had a spinal tap, oh my God. Horrible experience. So freaking weird. For days afterwards, where they had put it in, I felt like there was some sort of weird sensory gap in my spine. I know that sounds bizarre. I described it to them, and they were like, that makes no sense. But literally, it felt like my spine went like this, and they went, oh, not right there, and then kept going. Odd, I know. But anyways, so I did... Well, they put me through the MRI machine, and then they took me out and decided to do dye. So they ended up injecting me with the dye, and I went back in, and my MRI that day was like 3.5, almost 4 hours long between the non-dyed and the dyed. CT scans. I kept a record because when you're sitting in a hospital bed with nothing else to do, I kept a record. Within the 6 days, the 7th day was my day of release. Within my 6 days there, they had taken 157 vials of blood. Holy crap, every time they came in, I looked like a pin cushion. It was awful. They'd come in and be like, oh, how many are we getting this time? And I'd check them off on my list. I know it's weird, but it was something to kind of keep track of and keep my mind busy. The steroids made me want to eat everything in sight. Like, I was like, oh, just like shove it in. I felt like the Cookie Monster, but not just with cookies. It was like, I want all of the coffee and all of the snacks, and I didn't care if it was healthy, if it was bad for you, it was good for you. It did. If it tasted bad, didn't matter. Shovel that shit in. Just get her down. I ate like crazy, and I was so freaking hyper that it would be like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting up hanging out at the nurse's station with the night shift girls, or I would run the halls down in front of the lab. Yeah, the laboratory and x-ray clinics downstairs in the hospital because no one was there. The security guards knew me, and they'd be like, it's 3 or 4 in the morning. Hey, Jody, going for your nighttime run? Yeah, gotta get these roids out of my system. Like, I was just like pinging off the walls. Now, I'm generally a pretty hyper person. I talk really fast as it is. You guys can imagine if you, like, amped this up. It was bad. Anyways, so they sent me out of the hospital after 7 days, sent me down to UBCMS clinic where I met my neurologist there and started working with the team there. We did all kinds of tests and looking at things, and I don't want to say I'm an anomaly. I'm not an anomaly. There's plenty of people with MS that have their MS situates the way that mine does, but it is not the majority. The majority of people with MS have MS in their head. We all have MS in their head. Never mind, that was worded really bad. Majority of people with MS do have the majority of their lesions in their head. I'm kind of the opposite. The majority of my lesions are actually in my spine. My big ones are all in my spine. This last MRI that I got is the first time where they've found more than just a couple in my head, which kind of makes me nervous. Up to this point, my cognitive abilities, that's believable. My cognitive abilities and my eyesight and things like that have been very minimally affected. Most of it was in my limbs and my arms and muscles and things like that. I would sometimes go numb in the face or get kind of one side of my face and I'd droop a little bit, like maybe I had a stroke, that sort of thing. But now they're moved into my head. My MS has been proving to be very, very aggressive. So that's fun. After I got out of the hospital, I did go back to work. I worked full time. They eventually ended up having to take me off work for about, a year and 5 weeks or a year and 6 weeks, something around there, because I had an episode and then they put me on a treatment. The treatment that they put me on was a daily injection. I'm not going to get into what drugs I took because MS is so different for everybody. The drug that works for one person won't work for the next. So if anybody out there has MS and is like, oh my god, that didn't work for it, I don't want to do that. But anyways, I was on a daily injectable medication. I have psoriasis and eczema, and I'm kind of prone to weird skin issues. So everywhere that I put that injection, well, the injection was doing its job and I was not progressing any further. Everywhere that I put that injection would break out into a great... I'm looking down at my belly because most of them were in my belly, my thigh, the back of the arm, like the top kind of chunky part of your butt sort of area. Every day would break out in these big hives, and then they'd either get like sort of a psoriasis-like sort of thing going on over top, and the nurses came out to check if I was cleaning the sites properly and everything. My skin just had a reaction to that one. It was nasty. The next one that they put me on, well, one of the side effects was supposed to be minor heart palpitations. It actually caused me to have a minor heart attack, which was scary. If you guys want to know the story about my little heart attack, let me know and I'll do another video on that. But it was very, very scary. I was home alone, and my little dog basically kind of saved my life. Yay! Thumbs up for Eddie. Eddie saved my life. If you guys want to hear that story, I'll put that in another video because that's the whole different thing on its own. So they took me off of that immediately. Just so you guys know, they did all kinds of tests, EKGs and stress tests and stuff. My heart is absolutely fine. My blood pressure is fine. My cholesterol is fine. The heart attack that happened was literally a direct result and the only caused by the drug, because they've monitored me really closely since then just to make sure. And just so you guys know, I am overweight, but all of those levels are right in the middle of normal. So there is no kind of signs of any other kind of heart condition on top of that, because I know people will question that because I am overweight. But no, it had nothing to do with anything else. It was from the drug. So they put me on another drug. Now this is why I was off work so long, because when they put you on a drug, anything that causes any kind of stress or anything like that on the body will cause your MS symptoms to get worse and will sometimes cause another episode or another relapse to happen. So every time they put me on a drug, I'd like relapse, and then I'd get adjusted, and then something had happened and they'd take me off, and then I'd have another relapse, and they'd have to wait for me to plateau and put me on the next drug. So this is why I was off work so long, because me and the drugs were not reacting. It wasn't even so much the MS itself that caused me to be off work as it was the shit they were putting in my system. So anyway, so the next drug that they gave me after that was working awesome. It was stopping, like I had no further lesions. There was no showing of any additional damage or lesion growth. Everything looked good, but there was a big problem with that one, and that one caused severe muscle cramping, like to the point where I'd be curled in a ball in the fetal position and just like dying and sobbing. And the sobbing came from the second side effect, which was something I had never experienced in my entire life. You guys who watch my videos know I am not a very depressive person. I'm just not. I've never been prone to sort of bouts or spells of depression, and I had experienced depression for the first time in my life, and yeah, it was because of the drug. But holy cow, my heart goes out to anybody who deals with that in any sort of way, because I can't even explain to you the level of despair that I was at. But I wasn't. It was horrible. Like, anyone who deals with depression out there, oh my God, I just want to hug you and hold you and squeeze you and tell you that you're loved and everything will be all right, because it's something you don't talk about to people. They can tell something's wrong, but you don't say anything, because you're sort of ashamed. It's all in your head, and I was not so far in the depths of despair that I could not figure out that something wasn't right, and the only thing that was different in my life was the drug that I was on. So I didn't even give the doctors a chance to say, hey, maybe we should take you off of that. I just called them and said, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I don't want to feel like this anymore. My muscles hurt so bad all the time. I am done, and I don't care what you guys have to say. I am done. And within, I would say, because these medications that they give you take a while, they like build up in your system, so it's not like I stopped taking it, I feel fine. But I would say after about 2 weeks, I started to feel like myself again, and that's when I realized that all of that shit I was going through it wasn't me, it was the drug. So then they put me on another drug, so we're on round number 4. Round number 4 was the side effects of it were minimal. I was reacting to it fairly well. I'm one of those people that always gets a weird reaction to things, so I ended up having to take longer than most people to eventually build up to the full dosage. But once I got there, I was fine. It was good, but I was still having minor relapses and one major kind of relapse while it was on, where I had to go on the IV steroids again, the Solumedrol. So then they ordered another MRI, and come to find out that, well, I reacted so well to it, but it did nothing. My last MRI showed that some of the lesions that were large in my spine that have sort of been staved off and stopped from growing or increasing from the other medications on this one that I was reacting well from did nothing. A couple of them doubled in size. This MRI was the first time where I had a multitude of lesions actually in my brain and more on my spine. Basically, I went from having a few countable ones in my head to having too many to count within basically a year's time frame. That's not good. So right now I am drug-free, and I will be going on a new treatment in the fall, hopefully, if everything works out. This treatment is going to be nasty as hell, but it's going to be hopefully worth it to get through. The drug that I'll be going on was originally developed for people with leukemia, so basically it's going to wipe out my white blood cell count, and I'll have to build that up, and there'll be lots of blood tests and getting sick and feeling awful while it's going on for a few weeks afterwards, and hopefully it works. But the reason you guys might be here, a lot of people probably want to know what my symptoms are. My symptoms are extreme numbness. I get numbness all the way from about here, like the tip of my nose, down. Right now, because I filmed a few videos and been talking a lot, I'm actually numb from about here, like this whole fat waddle here. it's all numb. So my waddles are numb kind of down towards my chest. I get tremors in my hands to the point my hands always shake a little bit. My hand will whoo, I feel like Elvis or something, like, it goes crazy to the point where I can't hang on to things. The feeling in my hands at the very, very best of day, today not being one of them, the feeling probably comes back in my hands probably about 90%. I get numbness very, very frequently in my legs, which can cause me to have difficulty operating them, which can actually get to the point where I actually have to get assistance to get myself up out of bed in the morning to get them at least moving and adjusted. Sometimes within a little while they adjust, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 days later that they finally come back and adjust. I get severe muscle cramps all over. My favorite places for muscle cramps is up my neck and in between my shoulder blades. They get so bad that you can actually watch my muscles like spasm and twitch under the skin. It's really freaking creepy when it happens. It's really gross. It looks like the movie Alien, like something's gonna come bursting out the side and be like, ah. It's really gross to watch. It's really nasty to have. It hurts when it does happen. What else do I get? Oh, my bladder is so fucked up. There are days where I feel like I have to pee every 15 minutes, and I literally have to run to the bathroom every 15 minutes, and then the next day I'll have gone up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it's like 8 at night, and I go, holy crap, I haven't gone to the bathroom all day. I should probably get on that. So my bladder situation is all messed up. That is very common for people with MS. If you have it, you will know. It's just weird. It makes traveling with me an experience. I always pack toilet paper in the car now when we're on the highway, because as long as the ditch is deep enough, I don't care. Yeah, I gotta go when I gotta go. So yeah, it's good times. I stop a lot. I do have a tendency to walk a lot like a drunk. I drop things. Sometimes I don't have the optic neuritis, so I don't have a lot of the eye problems that people get. But I do get the extreme fatigue. I do get I'm on a ship and it feels like everything's rocking. It's very, very strange. It's not vertigo, but literally you feel yourself. It feels like you're rocking. I get what I like to call bobblehead, where every step my head's like, woo! My head bobbles around no matter how hard I try to keep it still. I will get tremors in my face. I do word displacement, where I go to say blush and I will say brush. You guys have probably seen that one before. I will go to say fork and it will come out as spoon. That's really frustrating. I lose words a lot, so I'll be in the middle of a sentence and it'll be something very simple like outside. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna go, and it's a blank. Like, the word just went poof. The English language just erased that out of the Oxford dictionary, and the word outside no longer exists. I get that all the time, which is really hard. I can't mask my emotions at all, so I will go from laughing hysterically to turning around and absolutely bawling over nothing. A commercial that's slightly sad will have me like in tears for hours, and something that's kind of usually like a little smile chuckle will have me laughing so hard my stomach hurts, which is kind of fun, except for when it happens at the wrong kind of moment. That's a little bit difficult. Like, you don't want to be on the stand in court and start laughing at the judge. That would be a problem. So, you know, I'm just saying it's not the worst thing in the world, but it can be a little bit odd. I'm sure there's other symptoms. There always is. I fall down a lot. I break things a lot. I live in the land of plastic cups now. And everything has to have a handle, which is cool. So I guess that's kind of about it. I've been diagnosed for 2 years. I've had symptoms longer than that. It's going to continue to be a journey and a struggle for the rest of my life. On a personal level, I'm not gonna cry, but I just want to say that I am okay. I'm not making this video out of sympathy. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for kudos. I really enjoy the atmosphere on YouTube. I have a smaller channel, but I really feel like I am somewhat connecting with you guys, and I think if you're someone who wants to stick around and want to watch my videos, this will help to explain some of the oddities that you may see and wonder why I do some of the things that I do, why I don't wear eyeliner a lot, why me, and false eyelashes never happen. That's serious. That is serious. False lashes with shaky eye is bad. It is bad, so I never really wear them. It'll explain some things like that, why I don't paint my own fingernails, because that is another total catastrophe. So I really honestly am not making this for your sympathy. I just wanted you guys to understand a little bit more about me, a little bit more about where I am kind of coming from, and what sort of goes on in my day-to-day life. MS is something that has affected my family a lot. It is something that affects me every day. For the most part, I'm okay. I'm a pretty positive person. I don't let it bring me down too much, and I try to work through it the best that I can, but there are some days where I can't, and I'm just like everybody else. Just my bad days may come with a little extra baggage attached. The hardest part of this disease for me is not really how it affects me. It is how it affects everybody else around me. So my husband, my parents, my sister, my friends, my coworkers. Oh, I didn't want to cry. I'm not gonna cry. That's the hardest part for me. I don't like being looked at with sympathy or that I'm less than. I don't like people jumping to conclusions that because that day I happen to be slurring my words and walking funny. Trust me, I'm not deaf. I hear you. People whispering under their breath that, oh my god, that chick's so drunk. Or people giving me shit in the parking lot because I parked in the handicap parking spot because I'm having mobility issues that day. I shouldn't have to defend myself. I don't use my parking pass if I don't need to. So if I use it, it's a day where I need it. Anyways, so the battle is real. The people I love and the people in my life are so beyond supportive than I ever would have imagined. I understand where people who are ill now, where you're like, aren't they worried about themselves? You're not worried about yourself. You actually worry about everybody else and if they'll be okay because you're not. So, anyways, guys, that's it for my video. Give me a thumbs up if you sort of enjoyed this. I mean, enjoyed this is kind of weird, but if you liked me opening up and telling you guys about it, if you guys have, sorry, I'm just gonna, because I'm super classy that way. If you guys have any comments or any questions about my MS or anything that I can answer, I am not a doctor. I am new to this. I am not an expert in any way, but definitely I don't have a problem looking up or finding out the answers if I don't have them. Please let me know in the comments down below. If you have MS or know someone who has MS and you'd like to reach out in any way, my email is linked in the info. I would love to talk to you. It's people with MS, we're a pretty tight-knit community, and the beauty community here on YouTube is becoming pretty tight-knit as well. So if I could kind of bring all of us together in some way, I think that would be awesome sauce. So remember, thumbs up. If you guys aren't subscribed to my channel already, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned because next time we'll be back to more makeup and fun and good times. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you all next time.